everyone, Stephanie Denman here from the Denman Homestead, and I'm in the kitchen today. I know it's been a minute since we've done any recipes and cooking because I've been a little preoccupied in our store, but today I was in the mood to bake and for something in particular. I'm gonna make banana nut bread, and got my bananas here in my bowl. I was tempted to try out one of those like old-timey recipes from the 100-year cookbook I have, because there is a 100-year-old banana nut bread recipe in there, but I wanted to try something, a spin on my own recipe that I love, my tried and true, very good recipe that I have. I'm gonna try a little bit of a spin on it today. See if it makes my life a little bit easier. That's what I'm about right now. So let's get started. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to substitute my all-purpose flour, my baking powder, and salt, my leavening agents. I'm gonna substitute that with just a self-rising flour instead. So I'm gonna substitute those ingredients for just substitute my all-purpose flour with a self-rising flour and leave out those leavening agents and see how it turns out. Let's do that today. I will put the recipe in the description of the video so you can go back and look, and you can follow along or make it yourself if you'd like to. Okay, so the sugar, we're gonna cream together the sugar and the butter. And the butter I have let sit out room temperature so it creams easier. Creaming refrigerator butter is not fun. So this is unsalted sweet cream butter. You can use salted if you'd like. I'm using unsalted. So I'm gonna add this to my bowl. And I need a half cup of butter, so I'm using the full stick. That's a half a cup of butter. Then I'm gonna add in 1 1/4 cups sugar. So I'm gonna do that. Okay, so I'm just gonna cream these two together. Okay, so I've got that well combined. Now I'm gonna add in 2 beaten eggs and my vanilla. And the vanilla, we just need 1 teaspoon, plus or minus. I love vanilla. Maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna do like 1 1/2. So I'm just gonna take my fork and scramble these eggs a little bit. Okay, and I'm gonna pour it in my sugar, butter, vanilla mixture. All right, now let's combine these. I'm gonna grab a spatula and I'm gonna scrape down the sides and just make sure everything is well incorporated. There is just something about this time of year that I will stop any and all things I'm doing to start baking, which is probably a good thing for me and for you, I don't know, but I just truly enjoy this time of year and all the pies and the breads and everything that comes along with it. All right, so now that I've creamed those ingredients, let's go ahead and smash up our bananas. So ideally you want a cup worth of smashed banana. So depending on how large your bananas are, you also want them ripe to like over-ripened. And that's always the trick, right? You have like these like spotty looking bananas on your counter, and when's the sweet spot to like actually use them before they go bad? Mine were okay. Mine were just, you know, you could still, they were not black by any means. But the longer you let your bananas ripen on the counter, the sweeter they become. So it really draws out all those extra sugars in the bananas when you let them ripen on the counter. If you've ever eaten like a green banana or like a banana that's not quite yellow just yet, it's not very sweet. It almost has like a bitter taste to it. So you want to make sure that your bananas are at least ripened yellow or turning kind of black, just not moldy. Okay. And also, I've done this in the past where if I really wanted to make banana bread, but my bananas are just right there on the brink and I have no time, I will take the skins off of them and put them in a baggie and stick them in the freezer. So I'll just freeze them in that state of ready to bake. That way, whenever I am ready, I can just pop them out of the freezer, let them fall on the counter, and then I can go ahead and make my banana nut bread without wasting the bananas. Because there has been plenty of times where I've been like, ooh, gotta throw these out. Waited too long. So I mashed up 3 bananas. I probably just needed like 2.5, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and just use all 3 bananas, because it's gonna be a little bit more than a cup, but that's all right. Mashed up my bananas. Reminds me of baby food. We are now going to add in our dry ingredients, and then we're gonna alternately add our bananas and our milk. We need 1/4 cup of milk. So let's go ahead and add in our dry ingredients. By the way, I have my oven preheating at 350 degrees. So go ahead and start that now if you haven't already. You will need a loaf pan or muffin tins, depending on how you want to cook your banana nut bread. I'm gonna use a loaf pan, and if it's too much batter for this one, I may add in a different loaf pan too. Get your loaf pan. You're going to want to spray this with some non-cooking spray, and you can also add in some flour to that pan as well for an extra non-stick. So let's go ahead and add in our dry ingredients to this mixture. And we are going to need 2 cups of flour. Now remember, 2 cups of flour, I am going to use self-rising flour. So let's use that today. Now, if you don't have self-rising flour and you want to use your all-purpose flour, you're gonna do 2 cups all-purpose flour, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. So that will be your leavening agents for if you're not gonna use the self-rising flour. I'm not gonna add in the salt or the baking soda because I'm just gonna be using my self-rising flour instead. All right, I've got my 2 cups flour in here, so I'm just gonna kind of mix this in with the sugar mixture. Got this almost combined, and I'm gonna start going and adding my 1/2 of my bananas to this. I'm gonna mix this together. You need 1/4 cup of milk, but we're gonna add in 1/2 of our milk. I'm not gonna add it all in just yet. And then we're gonna go ahead and add in the rest of our bananas. I have a confession. I'm not a banana person. I wish I was. I think it's a texture thing, because for the longest time I did not like avocado either, and avocado and banana has the same kind of like texture to it. Just recently, like within the past 2 years, I've really started to enjoy avocado, but I'm not a huge banana fan other than banana bread. Like, I don't like them in smoothies. I know they're good for you. I'm just not a huge banana person, but I do love banana nut bread. I don't know. I'm weird. This is kind of scary. This is my personal favorite part. personally my favorite part, is adding the nuts to the banana nut bread. I love nuts in my banana nut bread. I think it gives it a great crunch and a great texture and flavor, but there's plenty of people who are allergic or just don't like the nuts, so leave them out if you want to. I have a bag of walnuts here. So I'm going to use a cup of walnuts. Now they're not chopped, they're half shelled walnuts. So I'm gonna chop these myself, just a rough chop. So I'm just gonna grab a couple handfuls at a time so it's manageable. If you've got like a food processor or something that you don't mind getting dirty, then go ahead and throw some of these in there. I'm just gonna rough chop these myself with a knife. All right, got my nuts added, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a good stir so I can get them all combined. One time I made banana nut bread with a crumb topping, like the brown sugar crumb topping on, almost like a coffee cake, but it was banana nut bread. So good. Takes a little bit of extra work, another step or so, so skipping that today. But yeah, that's a variation. That's very good. You could add chocolate chips, like if you were to do like half a cup walnuts or half a cup pecans, half a cup chocolate chips. The possibilities are endless. Kind of like zucchini bread. I will say, when I was looking up the 100-year-old recipe to see if they had one in the book, which they do, theirs was a little bit more complicated than mine. Called for cinnamon and nutmeg and vanilla and a whole bunch of stuff that I'm not putting in mine. I feel like mine's much more simple because it's done now. It's just, so we're done. And I'm gonna spray this down. A little bit of cooking spray. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my pan. Now I'm gonna set the timer for 45 minutes, but this could easily go up to an hour depending on, your oven's temperature, the temperature in the house, temperature outside, all those things vary. So I'm gonna stick this in the oven for 45 minutes. And then I'm gonna do the toothpick test or the knife test, where you stick your knife or your toothpick down into it, pull it out. If it's gooey and kind of everything sticking to it, then you need to pop it back in for an extra 5 to 10 minutes. Just keep an eye on it and make sure it's cooked all the way through. And we will check back with you in about 45 minutes and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so the 45-minute timer went off and I did my knife test because I could tell it was still a little moist on the top. Might be due to that extra half banana I added in. And yeah, so a bunch of the batter was still really wet in the middle. So I went ahead and popped it back in for an additional 10 minutes and we will check it then. Okay, we're back and it has been an extra 10 minutes, so total 55 minutes. 45 minutes initially and then an additional 10 minutes to get that center to cook. I have my knife that I have cleaned off with the paper towel, and I went ahead and stuck it, but I'll do it again just so I can show you guys. Stuck it down in there and it came out clean. So I know it's done. I'm gonna let this sit here for as long as I can take it, and then maybe in about 15-20 minutes or so I'm gonna cut myself a piece and taste it. Okay, it's time to try it. Check it out. Got a little bit of butter on there. So good, very moist. I'm very happy with the way that this self-rising flour turned out. It did its job. It rose perfectly. It looks great on top. Yeah, so I'll definitely be modifying this when I do have self-rising flour. I don't always keep self-rising flour, but lately I've been using a bunch of it for biscuits, so I wanted to try it with this recipe and it worked out really well. So I was able to leave out an extra step, which that's good for me. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today in the kitchen. I know it's been a minute. Hopefully I'll be able to get back out in the garden here soon, but I'm gonna take this with me to my craft room and finish up and do some work. But thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye guys.